Hey, what's up? It's Kieran. So a lot of you know I got this sweet Lotus right here that I'm getting ready for the track, and this car is going to be down for a little while because I'm going to be working on it. But people have been asking me like, hey, what are you doing? What are you doing to the Lotus? And it's like all this stuff, and so it's hard to explain a lot of it. So I'm actually just going to run you through, because some of it's really cool. Run you through some of the stuff that I'm doing to the car. So here's like a whole rack load of parts here that I'm going to be putting on the Lotus. Some of it's for the Miata. A lot of people like to put big power into cars, but for a track car, you want handling, you want grip. I mean, that's the type of thing that you want. Power doesn't matter. I mean, power is for losers. So, what do we got here? Well, some of this stuff is just maintenance. Like, for those of you who've been out on drives with me, my car will not warm up. It's because my thermostat is broken. So I've got a new thermostat here. This has got to be like a $7 part, but it is impossible to get that in there. It is like, it's in the weirdest spot in the motor. I don't know. The motor's not really supposed to go in the Lotus. It's a Celica motor, so like just the placement of the thermostat is ridiculous. So it's kind of hard to get into. These are radiator tubes. I got a new radiator here. Doing the radiator means taking off the front clam, which is a lot of work, pretty terrible. So once I have that off, there's a lot of other things I probably want to do in there too. Speaking of which, the braking system right here, this is probably what I'm most excited about. This is a Tilton dual master cylinder. So there's two master cylinders here. It's got a bias adjuster, so I can adjust. In fact, let me show you the bias adjuster, because this is so freaking cool. So this is in-cabin bias adjustment. You can do front to rear bias adjustment. And it will eliminate the ABS, it'll eliminate the brake booster, so it's like real manual racing brakes, which is gonna be freaking awesome. Speaking of brakes, let's see, can you see in here? We got, I don't want to pull this out, but we've got, I got new calipers for the rears. I'm taking front calipers from a Lotus Elise and putting them in the rears, and then, if you can see this, I'm adding these handbrake calipers because they're going to be separate calipers, because I can leave the factory calipers on there for handbrakes, but the factory calipers are like way heavier. I don't even want to pick that up when I break something. So, whole new braking system on the Lotus, and also I got these floating I got these floating rotors. This is for the rear and this is for the front, and those are going to be awesome. Those are actually super lightweight, going to lose some poundage there, and on a Lotus it really matters how much weight you have. It makes a big difference. On a lot of cars, how much weight you have on the wheels doesn't really matter because the car's so heavy, but on a Lotus it's not that heavy, so you want to reduce weight wherever you can because it makes a big difference. I'm also doing flywheel. This is a lightened flywheel. Reduce a little weight, but also it's just going to feel awesome. And a clutch. I don't really need a new clutch, but I'm putting a new one on there. I'm not going to open this up, but I'm going to put a new clutch on there because I friggin' love a strong clutch. For those of you that don't know, a clutch is like, there's like a third pedal on sports cars where you actuate the clutch on real sports cars. And I love when the clutch is like, it just grabs. You let go of that and it grabs. And you can hit the next gear and it grabs. It kind of feels like a dual clutch, but maybe more satisfying. Or actually, it doesn't feel like a dual clutch at all, because when it grabs, like, you know, it feels good. And you can actually feel it when you're on track, because sometimes when you're on track, and you're changing gears and your clutch is a little soft. You don't know when you start to spin the clutch a little bit, and I've had that where that's not a good feeling. That is the opposite of a good feeling when the clutch starts to spin like that. So I'm putting a stronger clutch on there. I don't need it. I'm not putting more power in the car. I don't care about power, but I do care about that feeling, when you change those gears and it just kind of jumps into the next gear. Speaking of changing gears, I got a sweet shifter for the Lotus. Oh my god, I'm doing this one-handed. Pull this out. Alright, I got this sweet shifter for the Lotus. So this is going to be mounted on the ground of the chassis, and it is going to feel so good. It's going to be fully exposed. It's going to be amazing. So this, and it's got some girth to it too. I'm super excited about this. I'm excited about the brakes, but I'm also really excited about this. It's going to make the shifts. The Lotus has a terrible shifting from the factory, but I'm going to switch it up with that, and it's going to feel so good. All right, what else do we have here? Oh yeah, the oil cooler. So the Lotus from the factory runs oil lines all the way through. It runs the oil lines through the sill up into the front of the car, and then there's these oil coolers in here, right here. There's an oil cooler under here, and then it runs it all the way back, and that ends up having a ton of oil in the car, and it's all this oil cooling that you don't really need for anything. It's like a really light car. It's got a small engine in it. You don't need all that oil cooling. So I'm going to reroute the oil cooling basically just so that the oil cooler sits back here, and it's got a fan on it. It's a C-Trab unit, and the fan's gonna cool it. That's it. And there's also air coming in from right here. This is all functional. Everything on this car, this is functional. That's the air that goes to the intercooler, and then this is functional. That's the air that goes to the engine. So that's more than enough to keep it cool, and then I don't have all this oil hanging out in my engine or in my car just sitting there for no reason. When I change the oil, I can't change that oil. I have to run it and then change it again, or just deal with old oil being in my car. There's also potential for those oil coolers to fail, so I'd rather have a simpler system that just goes to the back. And less weight. So less weight is good. Makes a big difference. What else do we got here? What is this? I don't know what that is. This is an oil pan. I got to reseat my oil pan. It's leaking. I had a little accident on track, and I had to change the oil pan at the track, and then when I put it on, it's still leaking a little bit, so I got to take it off and reseal it. That should be no problem. Also, we got these harnesses. Harnesses are pretty simple to install, but they're super big for safety. Safety is huge. I mean, you can't just have harnesses by themselves. I'm going to be wearing a Hans device also, but harnesses are a big deal because you get in an accident or something, you don't want your face all up in the windshield. There isn't much space in that car, so the seatbelt flexes a little bit and your face can be in the windshield. So there's a roll bar from the factory. It comes with a roll bar over the back, so as long as your body is back up there and you got the Hans device on so your neck doesn't go, you should be good as long as you're sitting back in the seat. But if you go forward, the front of the car can crush, and then you have some problems. What else we got here? These are mirrors. I got extended. I'm not able to see that. Well, you can't really, but let's pull it out. So there's no rear view mirror in my Lotus. There's really nothing to see in the back of an Exige. So these are side mirrors that are slightly curved so that you can see behind you, which is nice. Valve cover gasket. My valve cover is leaking. That's actually my spark plugs are leaking. There's oil in my spark plug, so it actually has some spark plug gaskets. Also, that's actually the more important thing. I'm just going to change the valve cover gasket while I'm in there. So anyways, super excited about the brakes. The brakes are going to be amazing. The car is going to stop faster than any car on the friggin' planet, you know, save for like an F1 car. Super excited about the shifter. Just a box, but the shifter. I'm putting these new, well, not new, but I'm putting these T37s that I got on the car. I've actually already got the fronts on there. I'm just test fitting. I think they look pretty good, but I'm gonna have to go with the smaller tire because these rub a little bit and not in a good way. Especially, I've got some super stiff shocks right now, but it's still the suspension still compresses enough to make it a problem. So I have to get some smaller wheels. Those are just gonna be like my street wheels because so the offset's not quite right, and the factory Lotus wheels have some pretty good tire options. So I'm looking a lot at tire options and brakes because that's what matters on track. Tires and brakes. I would take the Miata out there and I would have a blast if I had the right tires and the right brakes. Motor, it's cool to like gun it and then go, and it's cool to like get that faster lap time. But really what you want is tires and brakes. That is what improves your track experience. That's what makes you like zip around the turns at like 1 trillion miles an hour, because you could have whatever car you want. I mean, I don't know if I posted it on a different channel, but there's a video of me in the Lotus and I zip by this dude. He's got a McLaren 600 LT or something like that. I mean, dude was like, he was flooring it on the straights, but as soon as he hit the turns, he didn't have the tires for it and he didn't have the skill for it, right? And so my Lotus just freaking zipped around him, no problem. It was easy. And it took him a couple of laps before he realized I was faster than him. I was just like on him for a few laps. A straight would come up and he would zip off. And then as soon as the first turn came, I was right back on him. And that's a freaking McLaren. I don't know anything about McLarens, to be honest. They're missing a few pedals, but well, one pedal. But I don't know how. I mean, he must have been a bad driver or something, but no, it may have been the tires or whatever. I don't want to knock this car. I'm sure it's a fun car to drive or whatever. That's all I got for you. Like, subscribe. I'm probably not going to post too many videos of the work on this car just because I really need to speed it up. I got a track day in like a month or maybe a little bit less than a month, so hopefully I'll do most of it by then. I'll try and post a couple like in progress videos, but I'm not going to do any like how-tos or anything, I don't think. Well, just because like, one, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't know how to install this stuff. But two, I just need to get it done, so I'm just going to be working on it. And if you see me out in the city or whatever, holler. It probably means that A, I'm slacking on the work I need to do on this car, or B, I'm done. It should be really cool. Anyways, that's all I got for you, so I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.